Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Critical Podcast. My name is Jimmy Good, and I'm your host, and joining me this week are my go-to podcast compadres, Mr. Joe Lever.
Jimmy, how's it going?
Very good. And Mr. Levi Fletcher.
Why do I always have to follow up Joe with his weird... No, I'm just kidding. What's up, guys?
I put you first last week.
Yeah, last week you were first.
I try to switch it up. One of these times, I'm just going to say, welcome to the Critical Podcast. My name is Levi Fletcher. And people will be like... No,
Joe, you're just a hard act to follow, my friend.
That's true. He's got his little
special for the folks.
He's got these little guns and stuff. Anyway, thank you, boys, for joining me, and thank you, everybody who's listening. If you're here for the very first time, we love talking about everything in pop culture, be it movies, be it games, be it TV shows, be it entertainment of any sort, like a theme park or some music. Music, yeah. We'll probably touch on a Slipknot song later here. I thought about it. And I was like,
I got something of my own, I think.
Oh, he's got something of his own. Look at that. All right. But we're going to start off with a little bit of news. Some pretty big news. So we've had this thing that other podcasters, I think specifically the Weekly Planet, they call it Schrodinger's Bat, which was Ben Affleck. Was he going to be Batman again, or was he not going to be? And for anybody who doesn't know what that's kind of riffing off of, it's Schrodinger's cat, which is this idea that you put a cat in a box with a time-release poisonous thing in there, and you don't know if it's been released, so you don't know if the cat is alive or if it's dead, which is kind of sick, right? So that's why Schrodinger's Bat. But now we've confirmed Ben Affleck is out. He's been out for a while, and we didn't know who was going to replace him as Batman. There's a few names floating around. We finally got confirmation. Maybe. I think it's pretty positive at this point, but they had two frontrunners. Nicholas Hoult from Beast fame from X-Men. Everybody loves old Nicky Hoult. But then the one who I think we've confirmed now, Robert Pattinson, from such movies as Harry Potter and the the fourth one, The Goblet of Fire. That's the one.
That one Harry Potter movie.
And then also the Twilight series that he's known best for. I want to talk to you guys about this because I saw we were talking about this on our Facebook chat and stuff. But I wanted you guys to be able to kind of put your 2 cents out there about this. Levi, I want to start with you. Robert Pattinson, Batman. Yay, nay, excited, not excited? How do you feel?
I don't know how to feel about that. Because I've never really seen Robert Pattinson. Listen, I don't hold Twilight against any of the actors from those movies. Script goes a long way. And yeah, I don't know. I'd like to see. This is animated, right?
No, this is live action.
Oh, yikers. No.
Yeah, he's the
new Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
No. No, I thought it was animated. No.
I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure it's live action. He's the Matt Reeves Batman, whatever. Yeah.
Yikes. No. Mm-mm.
Okay, so you're not. So what makes you so apprehensive then?
No. No, I don't know. He was fine in Twilight, but I just don't think that he has the acting chops for it. So,
well, I think I've heard in other films, it's like Water for Elephants. He's actually a really good actor. In other things, but I haven't seen that, so it's hard for me to say. Yeah,
I haven't seen it either, so I don't know. I'd have to check it out, but
yeah, I feel like
on paper it sounds like a horrible idea.
Sure, I feel like DC's gotten slightly better with casting lately. One of the ones, I guess, that was kind of weird for me for a while was we didn't know Jason Momoa, but now we're man, he's amazing as Aquaman. Gal Gadot before she was Wonder Woman, I remember being really hesitant because I'd just seen her in the Fast and Furious movies, and I was like, but now I'm I don't want anyone else to be Wonder Woman. She needs to stay as Wonder Woman. So I hope that's the same thing with him, and he's a little bit younger. I think they cast him younger because that was the problem with Batfleck, is that he was older. He's supposed to be kind of a grizzled Batman, and they kind of got him when he's in his 50s or whatever, and then he's just checking out. So I don't know if they're going to try to flashpoint this, and try to be oh, this is the new Batman, but he's from a different Earth. Don't worry about it. Joe, what do you think about this?
Number one, yeah, it screws up the timeline for sure.
Yeah.
It's going to be jarring no matter how you look at it. Is he a bad pick? Maybe not necessarily. If they would have led with him from the start, would have been better. How old is he now? 30-something?
Yeah, I'll look it up while you're talking.
And does he look it? He look it? Everybody listening, watching, go Google it right now. We got to know. Robert Pattinson.
He's 33. He's got a good jawline. I'll give him that much. That's a good thing with the Batman. You got to have a good, strong jaw because that's a lot of your acting.
They should have cast him from the get-go.
Yeah. Just cast a younger Bruce Wayne in general, I think would have been smarter.
Well, and he doesn't even look that young. Like, he can get a semi-older look. He's 33 right now. He could do it up with a slightly more gruff, older appearance. I think. He can pull it off. They could have passed him off as like a almost 40, like 38, 39, and because he has to be old enough and experienced enough to be able to do the things that Ben Affleck's Batman did, to like search out this team and consider all these, make all these considerations essentially, and really have the forethought, and establishing himself as Batman. You know?
I think what you do is you make him Dick Grayson, and in the beginning of this next Batman film, you make him Nightwing, and Batman dies, and then you have him take the mantle.
Well, Batman's already dead.
Yeah, that could work. You
know what I mean? Like, if you want to have any type of continuity, even though DC's already like, we're doing a multiverse, whatever. Like, it's just, to me, like, why wouldn't you try to do that? Because like either that or he'd be a really good Terry McGinnis, probably, if you're doing Batman Beyond.
That's true.
But the problem is you need an old Batman. Then you need like an old Bruce Wayne who's just sitting in a chair, who's just like McGinnis. Like that's what you need. I think he's gonna be okay, but I don't know how long they signed him on for, and I think that was probably a big consideration here because they got to build around. You want to build your universe for DC like Iron Man for Marvel. Like you want to find that linchpin, and it was gonna be Henry Cavill, but then they kind of weren't sure with Superman, and then they're like, maybe Ben Affleck. No, they're like, eh. So that's why I feel like they need to just lock somebody in and just be like, all right, here we go. This is the person. Yeah, Levi, I don't know. You think any more about this? You still kind of like no thanks?
I don't know. I don't really know how I feel about it. I don't really like anything DC anymore, so.
Yeah, I understand that.
I'm just not excited. I'll go see them, but I'm never really I'm excited.
Yeah. Do you think you'll be excited about James Gunn's The Suicide Squad?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. He's done a good job with Guardians. So.
Is it a total reboot of Suicide Squad? Or?
Yes.
Kind.
He said it was a reboot.
See, it's screwed up.
It is screwed up.
He did say it was a reboot, so.
Yeah, I'm just not sure. I don't know who to trust anymore because I know they also came up. Gosh, and that's the thing about this movie too, is that there's apparently supposed to be a lot of different villains that are going to be in here too. So I'm just not sure. I'm not sure. Either way, I hope it's good. I want it to be good. I love Batman. I wear shirts that say Batman all the time. He's seriously probably my favorite DC superhero, even though he actually has no powers. So I know I give Black Widow and Hawkeye crap for that all the time. But you know what? If Batman's a superhero, they're probably superheroes too. So whatever. I like Batman. I think he's really cool. I just want them to figure it out because it's so sad. Because if you have a Justice League where Batman and Superman aren't there, it's kind of weird, right? If you've got your Aquaman, your Wonder Woman lockdown, get your Batman and your Superman lockdown.
Do we know for sure whether Henry Cavill's totally out or not?
I don't think he's out because they haven't said anything for sure. People are always going to do.
Still open to it.
Yeah, and it's not just because he does The Witcher doesn't mean he's out. I mean, look at Ian McKellen. He did Lord of the Rings and X-Men at the same time. You can do multiple massive projects. Yeah. It's just that just figure it out. And he also did that tweet a while ago, when Aquaman came out and did really well. He was in the water holding a fork, and he was I was and Jason Momoa promptly responded saying the only reason I got cast as Aquaman is because you already cast as Superman, and I was like. He's the Chris Hemsworth of the DC group. He's I'm just the chill dude who's always giving compliments. I respect that. I like it a lot. So, yeah, I don't know. I figured we had to talk about it. I've also heard rumors too that Idris Elba might be playing Deathstroke.
Which is okay. We would have preferred Joe Manganiello, but
I hope he's still around for that because I feel bad for him because he was doing a bunch of training and a bunch of research and stuff. Levi, what did you think about that? If that's or he could be I can't remember the name of this other character for the Suicide Squad. But it's still a rumor right now. We don't know. But would you want to see him Deathstroke or just a different character altogether?
He could be Deathstroke. That's fine.
Okay.
I don't know.
It's not fine with me. I'm the world's biggest Deathstroke fan. Why are you doing this to me, DC? You're even changing up the minor characters. Joe Manganiello deserves a chance. He's a D&D fan. Like Joe keeps telling me, he loves Dungeons and Dragons, and I love you, Joe Manganiello. Just God, I feel so bad, man. Yeah, I don't know. Suicide Squad. We'll see what that is. I just want DC to figure it out. Even though I will say this though, the more I think about that Joker movie, the more interested I am. And I've been playing a lot of like old like Dean Martin music, and that song keeps coming on. You know about like wearing a smile. You know, smile though your heart is breaking. And every time I think of the Joker, so I'm like, really good choice for song, like for your trailer, guys. You got me. Yeah. Anyway, that's DC casting news. Robert Pattinson. It sounds like Levi is unsure. Joe.
I mean, I think he can do it. It's going to be jarring if it literally is just filling the boots of Ben Affleck, and here we're starting off where we left off. Justice League has happened, and we're moving on from that. Let's assemble more, and let's take on the next thing. That'll be jarring.
I just wish that like after seeing the success of Endgame and how they worked to build to it and it paid off in dividends with like so much money, that DC would be like, it doesn't matter how long it takes. Let's just try to do what they did and not rush it.
Instead, it's like trying to cram everything Marvel did into how many movies?
Like
3, 4, 5, yeah,
or something like that. It's
yeah.
It's the quick. Let's get Justice
Yeah, I mean
League.
they hit 2 of them off with Wonder Woman and Momoa, but the other ones it was like too much too quickly. Like it wasn't earned. They really tried to just and here's Justice League.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's just like course correction, where like DC is very reactionary, where Marvel has always just kind of been like, our boat is going this way. We have a very clear heading and destination as what we want to do.
We're stopping at these islands. It's not too far out of our way. Boom.
And when movies didn't work out, like when Thor: The Dark World didn't perform as well as they wanted, or people kind of weren't as happy about it, they're like, all right, let's do Ragnarok. And even though like some of us maybe don't love it, it obviously did super well, and people loved that take of the character and the world, and that movie did so well. So it's just like they
the more adult.
Can't stand The Dark World. I just recently had to rewatch it, and I still hate it.
I think you just have to cut out the people in it, like the regular humans. That's
to
the
be
worst
honest. I watched it recently. It was a couple weeks ago. It was on TV, and I just happened to catch like the last half or so, and they bring her to
Asgard,
you know, and they're trying to figure out what's wrong with her and the whole thing. It's actually not a bad movie. The thing that kind of weirds it out is the way they portray Natalie Portman's character kind of oddly. And then they also like they lack dramatic effect with that relationship. Not to mention they bring in what's her name from Two Broke Girls.
Oh, Kat Dennings.
Yeah, Kat Dennings.
So annoying.
Not that I don't like her, but they bring her in there. There's the intern, the whole kissy thing when he saves her or something. It's kind of like, let's force that in there, and really it doesn't belong. It's kind of never serious when they're shown in scenes, but other than that, like the Dark Elves and the whole thing, it was kind of okay. It was neat. It really was. But and the moments on Asgard are cool.
I love that stuff personally.
But I honestly think they could have capitalized more on Thor's whole, relationship with Natalie Portman. I feel like even through his entire arc from when he started to now, I mean, they started it with her, and they kind of skipped her on the second. Wait, how many has he had? He had the one where he came to Earth or whatever. Then
they had 3, so they skip her on the third one. She's gone. Like they break up in the third one.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. And they just do that because they don't want her there. They don't want to pay her.
Yeah, no, she's expensive.
Yeah. But at the same time, I think like
she's not even that great. Ugh.
I feel like it's, and I know Joe, you're not really a Star Wars guy.
In there.
They have that Star Wars thing. Yeah, Pepper, she's Gwyneth Paltrow. We thought she was never coming back, and then it's like, nope, she's back. But it was the same thing kind of with the first the episodes 1, 2, and 3, I should say, for Star Wars, where she has like a big romantic relationship with probably one of the most powerful people in the universe, and it never felt really sincere. Yeah, it was just kind of there. It was the driving motivation for Anakin. But again, like with Thor, it was kind of a motivation to like, oh, he's got to fix this girl that he's interested in because she like went into this other dimension area and like shoved her hand in this obelisk and got this thing.
Yeah, and ultimately it's lackluster, period. Like you don't like he cares for her, but it's not like anything in depth. It's just like picked her up at a bar a few weeks before and they've just been kind of seeing each other, you know?
Yeah.
There's nothing very heartfelt there, it seems.
Just keep it all off-world. All the Thor stuff. Always keep it off-world. It's more fun when Thor's out in space or in one of the different realms. I think that's just where he's
sometimes best. I think it is kind of interesting and quippy when he's on Earth and he's kind of like, what is this thing you call vodka?
You know? See, in the first one that it plays really well, but then it's like he becomes too woke too quickly.
Yeah, sure.
I like
I don't know. I feel like, you know, it may sound mushy and it's weird coming from a manly man, but you know, what am I? I'm not a manly man, I guess. But I feel like when you introduce romance into something, even something like the whole Marvel series, something of such high importance or gravity, you know, I think the romance is a good tool for movies, period. Not only in like motives, but just adding that humanity that people kind of get pulled into. That's why people do the whole shipping thing on TV shows, or, you know, you're rooting for them to get together. You think it'd be, you know, they plant that little seed and it may not even be a thing that they intended to do, but immediately you're like, oh yeah, they should get together. Why humans are like that, I mean, whatever. But I just always think it bodes well, and it's something for the audience to help connect more and maybe feel those feels as to why he's putting so much effort into something, et cetera, you know what I mean? So I feel like there was a missed opportunity there, but enough dwelling.
But their relationship's not even believable. Like, that's the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Joe. And actually, I do want to dedicate an entire episode to this because there's been a lot of people who kind of don't like having romance in movies and stuff. And then especially like female-led ones where they kind of say like, oh, I really liked it because they didn't have romance in it. Like I said, I want to say that for a whole show because I feel like that is a really, really fun topic, especially, you know, for just us to talk about. I feel like we could just be the people who can finally set the record straight and we can all agree on that for sure. I'm just kidding. People will get very frustrated with us, but that's okay. It's about discussion and dialogue, right? But yeah, I do want to come back to that, Joe, because it's a very good one. Look at Wonder Woman; they did it right. Anyway, I gotta go back and watch that again. I do really want to. Anyway, let's switch gears here pretty hard. John Wick 3 just came out, and only one of us has seen it. And if you could guess at home which one it was, I'll be very impressed. But it was.
They get 30 seconds.
You get there? No, you do not get 30 seconds. That's just dead air for 30 seconds. Be like really good.
Elevator music, Jimmy.
Insert, clip art here.
So, but it was Levi, and I'm planning on seeing it very shortly. And I don't know, Joe, you may or may not. But in honor of John Wick 3, and we'll talk about it a little bit in Timekillers, so don't worry, no spoilers or anything for that. But shoot 'em ups. Shoot 'em ups are a genre, kind of like a subgenre, as it were, of action films, where it's kind of like a lot of people, two guns jumping in the air, like a lot of just firing down hallways, you know, shotguns, assault rifles, all that jazz. Tonight, I want to talk a little bit about our favorite shoot 'em ups. And because Levi saw John Wick 3, I want him to go first because he's got the shoot 'em ups on the brain. So Levi, tell us about your favorite or favorites.
I mean, it'd have to be the John Wick series, with Mission Impossible being like a close second for me.
So,
and I'm pretty new to both, so I don't watch a lot of shoot 'em ups. But when I think about shoot 'em ups,
you think about those. Mission Impossible 2 is the only one I would call like that because John Woo directed it. So there's a lot of like two guns, dudes jumping through the air, like shooting like this.
Yeah, what considers a shoot 'em up? Like, you mean like?
Where like the primary action scenes are like people shooting at each other, and it's like sometimes stylized. I know I'm sorry, people out there are probably like, Jimmy, that's not a shoot 'em up, but like I think of like we were talking about Hard Boiled earlier. Die Hard is probably considered like a shoot 'em up. Even Terminator could be kind
Expendables.
of Expendables, yeah, for sure. There's a lot of just.
See, and I can't stand any of those movies, so yeah, I'm gonna stick with John Wick.
Okay, so what is it about the first 2 John Wick movies that you
I just like that it's actually a little bit more stylistic for me. Like I like Keanu Reeves. 2, I like the action sequences and the choreography of the fights. And
what did you think about when it first people started talking about this again, like Keanu Reeves coming back? For most of us, we kind of knew him primarily from The Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
Were you like, oh, cool, Keanu's back? Or were you like, oh, what? Why is he back?
Well, I kind of slept on John Wick for a while. So,
stop it. That stuff's contagious.
Yeah. I slept on John Wick. So, I mean, I just recently saw the first 2 within the last couple months. So, yeah.
Did you prefer one over the other?
Yeah, I liked the first one more than I liked the second one. Ooh. But then I'd have to say the third one would be a close second now.
So what was it about the first that was it just new rushing?
Can you explain to me which one the first one is? Is that the one where he's the car at the gas station? The guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Theon steals his car and
yeah. Damn great.
I feel like the reason why I like the first one is because it's a little bit more cohesive. The second one is great. It opens up a whole new world for like these assassins, but the first one has like a pretty direct story. What happens in the second one, Jimmy? Like there's a new faction that's like trying to
basically, I think from what I remember, John gets hired for a new job, and then the guy who hires him to do the job kind of screws him over in a way, and then he does something very bad to this guy, and now he's on the run from every assassin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So then there's like for John Wick 3, there's a contract out for John Wick, and it's like 14 million, and it's crazy, and he doesn't have access to any of the stuff he had before, so he has to kind of fight on his own, fight his own way.
Yeah. I think the fun thing is
go ahead.
No, after you.
I just love like these comic book moments where like it's like, and then he said dog, and it's like all in like highlighted letters, and it's just very
the subtitles are really cool. Like they try to do like different colors and stuff, and I've been watching videos about this. Cinema Wins, not Cinema Sins, but this guy who goes through and he talks about color and how they use lighting in like the first, at least like primarily the first movie, and some in the second, where like if John is in like blue light, that means he's like in control, he's about to kill people and stuff. But if he's in red light, it's like in a bad, dangerous situation. And then like how bad guys will be like in John's blue light, that means they're about to die. Like there's a bunch of like artistic stuff going on that you don't think about, but then when you break it down that way, you're like, oh my gosh, they put so much time into like just how they set up the scene.
Yeah.
So cool. Also, they have like, and you didn't really talk about this much of that, but they have an uncompromising love for action sequences where it's one take, not shaky cam. Keanu is doing these moves. He is shooting people, and it's like he learned how to do this. Like it's like goosebumpy to me because like I've seen like the behind the scenes where it's like he's going through, or like he'll use an assault rifle, drop it, grab a pistol, shoot that, grab another gun, and use that, and it's just like it's really cool.
He's been around the block. He knows what he's doing.
Is it funny to you or to you, Joe, where it's like, I think too bad he didn't do, it's like almost like they flipped it. Like he should be doing the Matrix stuff a little bit now because they could do like more computerized stuff and he wouldn't have to do all of his own stunts. And as a younger man, he should have been doing like the John Wick ones where it's like all physical, like there's no like a ton of special effects. Like it's just him like going around shooting. It's like they're doing it now that he's a little older. Not that he's slow by any stretch. He's keeping up, but I just think about that. I'm like, oh, they kind of flipped it. Like, right? Maybe, I don't know. Matrix, I guess, a lot of kung fu though, so you got to be fit and young for that. But yeah, so John Wick 1 and 2, those are your favorite shoot 'em ups. They're good ones, man. They're good. Visceral, especially the second one gets a little pencil action there. Gotta love that. I love the world building in 2. That's the thing I think I like about 2 is that like the world of the assassins gets fleshed out. I like that stuff.
And they continue expanding on that in the third one too. So that's also what's really cool is like it's just a big world, and I like that you get to like kind of live in it. It's almost like, man, I'd love to play a video game like this.
Dude, yes, thank you. I totally agree. I was telling Joe this the other day, I think, but I also want them to do just like the heists from Grand Theft Auto and just make a game just about stealing stuff. I just, after watching Italian Job, I'm like, I just want to play a game where we can steal, and like you could do a no-kill job, or you could do like, we're gonna kill everybody job, but our bounty's gonna go up. But an assassin game like that in the modern day, I guess the closest thing we have is like Hitman. Is that probably the closest? Yeah. But that one's, it's a little different, and you're not really fighting other assassins. But yeah, dude, good picks. I mean, there's not going to be a lot of people out there. It's kind of a new standard for action movies right now, especially the shoot 'em up genre, to be like John Wick a little bit. So, which is good because the alternative is that shaky camera and you can't understand what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joe, how about you, man? What do you have any favorite shoot 'em ups?
Well, it turns out I think I've only seen the first John Wick, which I actually love. I haven't seen it in so long I can't really remember every step of the movie, but yeah, I like the whole. I like the relationship between him and the people he's after, like the guy's father, like, do you realize what you've done, kind of a thing.
Yep, I love that too.
And he's almost like trying to kind of like make peace with Wick for a second, but doesn't succeed. And I like the whole, they establish who you see as the hero.
Yeah, exactly.
They establish his like aura as being the boogeyman,
I love that. Yeah. And
which really throws up the intensity a little bit. But they also don't make him seem so overpowered that like you're never worried for one instant. Like, he does have some difficulties throughout, but he's still getting the job done or finding a way. But it's always like by the seat of his pants, on the edge of your seat, kind of a thing. And I mean, who doesn't love the motivation of he killed his dog,
Well, yeah, there's that, and the fact that like it was the last thing, and like, spoilers for John Wick 1, like the last thing his wife did before she died is by. So it's kind of like it's the dog, but it's kind of his
thing
wife.
To remember her by, kind of a deal, and a living thing of all things. So makes it even more.
Yeah,
important.
it's nice because like you're right, Joe. Like, you call him the hero, but in any other stretch and any less of a motivation, you'd be like, this guy's kind of nuts. Like, he's just killing everybody. But like, you have that motivation, and as an audience who's there because we're sadistic, we're like, yeah, we'll watch him kill everybody. And then like, like, it's fun too because it's not only a revenge story, but it's like the classic like, I'm out of retirement story. So like, he has to unearth the guns, and he's just like, you know what, I'm back. Like, I'm gonna talk to my old contacts. And then I don't know if it's in the first one, but in the second one, there's this moment where he like looks at all the guns and all the stuff that he's got, and he kind of yells for a minute, where he's just like, you can tell that he's frustrated. Like, he's back in the life of being an assassin, even though he's like, I gave it up. I'm never going to do this again. And then he's like, I just got pulled back into it. Now he's just like inundated again. It's so cool. I love the hotel too. I love that weird assassin hotel. It's really cool to me, where you're like, we can't kill people on assassin hotel grounds. I'm like, that's pretty cool. I like it. It's a stupid rule, and I doubt anyone would abide by it.
Lots of rules.
They have a lot of rules, man. Also, I love that he gets a pit bull at the end of the first, and he's got it in the second one, and it doesn't die. And but the uncompromising action, and just watching him just get tricky with the guns and setting up things too. Because Joe, you say like he's like powerful, but they show him like in the tunnel in the second one, he's like putting the guns where they need to be. But then they'll do cool like camera shots where it's like the lady he sent to kill, they're showing her in a mirror, and they'll pan. And then they'll show the other side of the mirror, and he's just standing there like he just appeared, like he's the ghost. Like, he's like, oh, like that stuff always gets me because he's not that way, but in those moments he is, where you're like, oh crap, like Baba Yaga's here, like he's come to kill people. Like, or in the first one, he hits that one dude, and the guy rolls over the car, and he shoots him as he goes over it. It's like brilliant. Like, I love it. And there's a lot of practical car effects in these movies too, Joe, that I think you'd like, which is kind of cool because they don't always have that. Because in a lot of movies like Fast and Furious, like some of those cars, those really fancy ones with those cool kits on them, can take like crazy punishment and not crack or break at all. But like in this one, it's like, no, he's using like an old, muscle car and it gets messed up. And it's like, oh, thank you. Appreciate that. But all right. Anyway, sorry. Levi, John Wick's 1 and 2. You say 1 is here, 3 is here, 2 is here. Seems like your hierarchy. Okay. Cool. Joe, favorite shoot 'em up. Got one?
Yeah, well, I was kind of on the John Wick train. Ultimately, I haven't seen 2 or 3, so I can't really rank them. But 1 was excellent. I love like I said, I just love the practicality of it and the aura that they put around him with the whole Baba Yaga thing and the villain relationship and the motives.
How about supporting cast too? We didn't talk about that. Willem Dafoe, Ian McShane, also great assassins in the world. Like that's a cool thing to me too.
Very cool. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's polished. I think with those movies, what you get is it's polished. It's not your typical, it's not like Expendables. Like, yeah, great. Okay, they got a bunch of guns, they're putting holes in stuff and shooting a bunch of people. Okay, it has its slot or it has its lane on the highway, but this is in the high-speed lane, the one where the fast cars that cost over, 6 figures go, and it shows. So, and there's a reason why there's 3 of them and they've been so successful. And you have an actor like Keanu Reeves at the helm. Plus, I mean, the guy goes to a red carpet wearing his suit, but under at the feet, he's got on carpenter boots, worn-in carpenter boots. I loved it.
Yeah, he's classy, and all the assassins dress in suits. Like even the guys who go to do the hit on him in the first one, I didn't realize that, but they're all wearing suits. Like we're going to work. Put the suits on.
Yeah, but like him as a person, like I appreciate his like he's kind of almost average Joe-ish. Like he throws the carpenter boots on after he puts his all black tux on. I'm like, yeah.
Dude, yeah, and he's got the beard and the long hair, and it's kind of scary because when he says things, like he's like, I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill them all. You're like, I believe you. I for sure believe you. Like it's like
what was the question they asked him in some interview? There's a meme out there of it, and it's how do you remain so down to earth? And it's him reading that tweet or something. And then the second photo is him looking up and he's kind of got one leg up, like hand on the knee, like, well, gravity. I don't know if that's real or not, a quote or not, but yeah, for the sake of being different, I'm trying to think of another one that would rank highly for me. God, I mean, I know I've seen them. I'm just trying to think of a good one. I liked. I feel like Godless was a bit of a shoot 'em up.
Kind of, but
you said stay out of the Western.
Yeah, because otherwise I'm going to talk about Tombstone for like 2 hours. That's no good. Right?
Yeah,
we'll do Westerns another time.
Of course, there's that and Dirty Harry.
Dude, Dirty Harry is more of a shoot. There's that moment in the beginning. It's the beginning and end of Dirty Harry where he does the whole like, I know what you're thinking, punk. You're thinking, did he fire off 5 shots or only 6? And the guy like at the end is like, I gotta know. And he's got like dead to rights. I'm like, if someone was holding a gun to me and they were saying, do you feel lucky? I just wouldn't say any. I'd be like, I don't want to talk about this. Like
Clint Eastwood back in the day in his prime. Oh man,
he's such a badass. Like, and then in Gran Torino, like. That movie is also very racist, so it's like
yeah, but still an accurate portrayal.
Yeah, he's incredible. I kind of want to see The Mule or whatever that one was, like the recent one.
Yeah, that one seemed interesting. God, any come to mind for you? What's something that I would have seen that really?
Levi brought it up earlier. It's the one that's probably hated the most out of all of them, but I still loved it, and I rented it a bunch as a kid. As like a teenager, it was edgy and stuff, but I love and still love the corniness that is Mission Impossible 2. Now, it was directed by John Woo, who's known for like Hard Boiled and doing like all the slow-mo double guns, doves, and stuff. But I loved it, and it was when Ethan Hunt was at his most powerful. This guy named Patrick H. Williams, who's like this pretty big YouTuber. You guys should check him out. He's got a very good channel. He talks about how Tom Cruise is Ethan Hunt throughout the years. And he talks about like in the first movie, he's just kind of this young hotshot. But in the second one, kind of like the early 2000s, like Tom Cruise was like a god. And that's why Mission Impossible 2, he's like unstoppable. He's like on a motorcycle with the glasses and the long coat. And there's like explosions and he's just shooting everybody and just like no one can stop him. But I like that movie, even though it is super corny. But it did allow us to have Hugh Jackman be Wolverine because, again, the guy whose name I keep forgetting, but who plays the villain in that movie, took Mission Impossible over being Wolverine. But he does a good job. That villain is good. I might look him up. But they have this crazy fight on the beach at the end with the motorcycles and stuff. It doesn't make the most sense, but it's just I don't know. It's a fun movie, and I like how crazy it gets, and it is very artsy at times. There's a lot of like slow mo, the music's going, or like Ethan and the femme fatale of the movie. They like take their cars, like smash them together, and like spin around like on this mountain road, like they're dancing. Oh man, and Anthony Hopkins is in it too. Yeah. I like Mission Impossible too. The other one that comes to mind is weirdly Face Off, which is one of the weirdest freaking movies I've ever seen. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Have you guys seen Face Off?
No.
Okay.
I think I've heard about it before.
You guys got to watch it. Here's the base premise. John Travolta is a good cop, and Nick Cage is a crazy like terrorist. So what? Nick Cage gets taken into custody. And he gets really hurt, but what he does is he takes and he swaps faces with John Travolta. So John Travolta is playing Nicolas Cage in a way, and Nicolas Cage is playing John Travolta. So they swap lives because that's what happens. They both have these big surgeries, and that's what happens. So they're like infiltrating each other's lives, and it's like this craziness where like Nick Cage as John Travolta infiltrates like his family and like is like with his wife and like is really weird to his daughter and like all this stuff. And then and then there's like John Travolta as Nicolas Cage is like becoming like he's trying to learn how to be like this terrorist and trying to like ruin the group from the inside. And it's just the craziest performances and a lot of just like jumping and shooting. It's wonderful. Please check it out. I want to take his face off. Like that's one of the lines of the movie. I'm not kidding. Everybody, if you haven't seen Face Off, pause this like show right now and go watch it. It is insanity and it is so funny to me. Like I like it because it's so dumb. Please check it out. Now, Joe, you know what I'm talking about now. Like a little bit.
I know what you're talking about. I feel like I've seen it back in the day.
And I feel like that was John Woo who did it too. I don't remember which director did it, because that one was popping up like along with like Desperado and stuff, which I have not seen those ones, but yeah, it was just one that came to me because it is a classic. Like it's so campy though. Like seriously, you got to go into it. Yep, it is John Woo. That is it's I guess I like John Woo, but like corny movies. But yeah, that one and the other one that came to mind, and actually two that came to mind here that are actually standing back to back, but The Rock. Pretty good movie. Probably my favorite Michael Bay film ever. I don't know if you guys have actually seen The Rock, but it's starring Nicolas Cage once again, but with the less seen nowadays Sean Connery. Yeah. And there's this kind of that fan theory going around that like in this movie he's actually James Bond. He's just like an older James Bond, and like people like his agencies are like disavowing him. But it's actually a pretty fun movie. Like
The Island or whatever.
It's on Alcatraz, yeah.
Yeah, Alcatraz, that's right. I've seen.
Yeah, because there's like Ed Harris is like a Marine gone rogue, and he gets like these bioweapons, and he's basically threatening San Francisco, and he wants to have his other Marines who were killed in action on like the Shadow Op to get honored or get medals or something. It's kind of like the plot's not great, but like the movie itself is just one insane like kind of action thing, and I think it's Michael Bay's best. It's my favorite Michael Bay movie. So check out The Rock. It's a good shoot 'em up. There's a lot of shooting, a lot of stuff blowing up, and it's Michael Bay. It's gonna shoot 'em up. No, Transformers wouldn't be considered a shoot 'em up, maybe. But the last one I want to talk about while Joe's thinking of his. At the time, I remember really liking it, and I still think of it fondly. I like the game better, but I like Wanted. I liked Wanted. I know the whole bullet.
Talk about Wanted.
The bullet thing is kind of dumb, right? The bullet thing's kind of dumb, but it's fun, right?
It's a fun movie, yeah.
Yeah, like watching freaking James McAvoy flip a car over a dude and shoot him through like both the sunroofs and go like, "I'm sorry," and he like shoots the dude and like lands the car and drives away. Like, yeah, I like that. Or I like when he's on the subway and he's gonna take a shot and kill that dude in that meeting, and then he's like, "I'm not gonna do it," and then he has like a flashback, and then he does the curve and it gets the dude. I do like that. Angelina Jolie's pretty good at it too. I like that it's one of the only movies that you get to see that gun that could turn around corners because she has that, like, it's like got a gun loaded and like you can flip
Is this
around
a
a corner.
movie where he takes the keyboard and like smashes the face of Chris
Pratt? Yeah, it's Chris Pratt is so weird in this movie because Chris Pratt is like cheating. James McAvoy's girlfriend's cheating on James McAvoy with Chris Pratt, like before Chris Pratt was like a crazy star. The plot's really dumb because it's like, hey, we get the loom of fate, and this loom just keeps making things, and freaking Morgan Freeman sits somewhere and he just reads off names of people to kill. Like, that is stupid. It's super dumb. Yeah. But I like the gunplay. I like the knife fighting. They only do it a little bit, but I remember liking it.
And he's like getting trained by like that butcher and like,
yeah, and that's like the only person he fights with a knife is the butcher.
I want to go watch it.
Yeah, and it came out for us at the perfect time because it came out in 2008. So like when we were just like being able to go see R-rated movies in the theater, it was like Wanted, yeah, yeah. Joe, how do you feel about Wanted?
It was kind of weird. I mean, cool, but kind of weird. I wasn't really that into it.
Okay, fair enough. It's a comic book movie, just so you know.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's why they have superpowers.
I saw it. It didn't do a hell of a lot for me, but...
I do want to say this too. I will get killed if I don't say this. Boondock Saints, I prefer the first one over the second one. If you've never seen the Boondock Saints, go watch the Boondock Saints. Amanda, I love you. My sister is crazy she knows the whole prayer they say. And there's some good stuff in there. I've always wanted to be... what's the name? Willem Dafoe's in that one too. He dresses in drag and kisses a man and then promptly kills him. I'm sorry, I'm ruining this movie for some people. Rocco, I love Rocco. Sorry. it's a good movie. You should check it out. What was I gonna say here? Anyway, their dad, Billy Connolly in this movie, he's the guy that I really liked. Is it the Duke? I think his name is the Duke. He's got like a really messed up backstory where he like slits a dude's throat and he just stares at him and like watches him die. And my sister's like, you're gonna like this guy the most. And he's a dude who keeps like a ton of pistols on his chest. Yeah, just go watch Boondock Saints. They're really weird movies. Levi, you've seen these movies, right?
Yeah.
Are you a fan? You like
I like the first one a lot more than the second one. Yeah.
I just think the lack of Willem Dafoe in the second one, and they have that new lady who's she's very grating to me. But Joe, how about you? Have you seen Boondock Saints?
You know, I think once upon a time I did, but...
Joe, you would appreciate Boondock Saints.
Dude, watch just the first one. There's this... I'm sorry to spoil a little bit of this, but there's this great moment because they hire... If no one's seen Boondock Saints, about two Irish guys who decide... And they're very, very religious, but they decide to start, like, basically being vigilantes and start killing a bunch of mobsters. And they get their buddy Rocco in on it, too. And Rocco isn't as good as they are with guns, which I don't know why they're so good at guns, but... there's this moment where they go over a crime scene and then they'll play back the action sequence because you'll see the action sequence just about to start and then they'll cut to afterwards and then you see like the mayhem and then it's like a cool way of telling a story. I know I give Pulp Fiction crap for that, but I think Boondock Saints does it really well. And there's this moment where Willem Dafoe's kind of walking through and he's like, I see a person get shot here and a person gets shot here, and he's like holding out two guns and he like fake guns, just trying to figure it out, and he's like. And then he's like, cross. And then they shoot back and like, so Rocco, the guy who's doing it because he wants to look badass while he's killing people. He's like, he's like, do it like that. It's just like not very good shooting. It's so good. Like,
and sounds like I need to watch it for sure. I
just love the symphony moment where he's just like listening to music and like,
dude, the firefight. Is that what you're talking about? Where so there's one of the best shootouts is between the boys and the Duke, and Willem Dafoe shows up. Oh,
I mean when like he's listening to the headphones.
Oh yeah, he'll listen to music. Yeah. To like go over crime scene for sure.
Yeah.
The fire when he says there was a firefight. So
it's a great film. It's a cult classic now.
Check it out. Basically, Willem Dafoe directs in his head how the firefight went in the present from like a version of the past. So they show them like shooting, like the action scenes happening, but Willem Dafoe's in the middle of it. So he's like reenacting kind of or like directing the carnage and stuff. It's really good. I can't recommend it enough. My sister would kill me if I didn't talk about it. But yeah, she loves the Boondock Saints. She's got two posters. think 2 posters
Yeah.
of it at her house. Like the whole like thing they say before they execute these mobsters, which there is an execution that they don't show you at the end of the movie that has to be probably the dirtiest one. Like it's like 2 pistols and a shotgun, and it's like there's no way. It's like boom, and it's like that's gonna be hard to clean up. Anyway, yeah, check it out. Check out the Boondock Saints, 1999, and then at the end they like interview a bunch of people, like random people on the streets, to talk about like how they feel about this. And I feel like it's such a good, accurate representation if like how vigilantes like were to exist in our world, how people react. Because there's like a lot of people who are like, yeah, I think they're doing like the good thing, and like other people like, these people are psychos, they should be in prison. So it's like all over the place. I love that sort of thing.
It always surprises me so much how I always thought this movie was huge, but I guess it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
It only became popular after.
Yep, it barely made it, and that's why 3 has been in development for such a long time. Yeah, it's good, and 2 is good too. 2 is a little bit like John Wick 1, where it's like they're coming out of retirement. They're like, all right, got to get back to work. Like, yeah. Anyway, check those out. Joe, did you think of any while I was kind of just going over all these movies?
No, good ones. And
thank you.
I feel like it's a shame I have not seen Boondock Saints. I feel like I've seen it, but it was in 1999, so I'm sure I've seen parts of it, and I just don't recall. So I did think of one, and people are gonna laugh at me, but it was a laughable movie. But I actually found it to be entertaining. Was Hot Shots.
Dude, Hot Shots. Oh wait, the first one or part 2?
Part 2.
Is it just part 2? Is there a first one?
I don't even know.
I remember laughing at it. I remember renting that as a kid too. I remember they're like, did they shoot a chicken once in a bow and arrow? Because it was like, Charlie Sheen. Isn't Charlie Sheen like the main dude?
Yeah, just Hot Shots Part 2.
Yeah, yeah.
There was another Hot Shots, but it was like some Air Force deal.
Yeah, he's Rambo basically. Yeah, you like?
But yeah, it's kind of a spoof on Rambo a little bit. Like
yeah, those ones.
1 minute he pulls up to shoot an arrow, and there's a freaking rubber chicken on it.
I feel like we should do a spoof movie one, because like Airplane is always one I think about too, where there's just that one clip where the guy's going, he's like a name of somebody, he's like Striker, and he like looks at some dude, he's like Striker, and the guy like shrugs his shoulders and he just punches some lady. Like it's like like that kind of humor just they don't have it around anymore. I'm not saying that's good. I'm not saying, or Don't Call Me Shirley. Like, that's another, like, Shirley, you must be crazy. Be like, I'm not crazy. Never call me Shirley. Stupid humor like that. But so you liked Hot Shots. I don't know, Levi, did you ever see that movie?
No.
Yeah, I think I saw it once a long time ago, but yeah. Oh my gosh.
I want to pull it up. The cast for that is actually pretty stacked.
For those crazy movies, they sometimes get like an insane amount of people to join.
I feel like actors who just want to kind of have fun with it.
It's like the Mel Brooks movies where you're like, okay, how many people are we going to actually get in this? And then there's just like all these stars just cameoing for like 30 seconds. They're like, hi, I'm here, and I'm gone. Like,
yeah. Lloyd Bridges, Miguel Ferrer, Rowan Atkinson.
I love Rowan Atkinson.
Ryan Stiles from the Who's Line guy.
Oh, Ryan! Oh, he's
actually really funny in it. I like him in there. Martin Sheen's in it. Let's see, Mitchell Ryan. Bob Vila's in it.
Oh, really?
What?
That was a while ago.
It was 1993, but this was back when Sheen was still like kind of.
He was on top of the world. He was doing better.
Yeah, he was a hot shot, for lack of a better term. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny, or like sometimes, what was it? He'll go to shoot and it's like a bang flag instead.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just funny moments, or he'll just sit there, wrap off a whole belt and hit nothing.
Yep, it's kind of like the first Predator, like shooting grass, which you can almost call Predator even to shoot him up in some ways. But
yeah, I thought so too. The guy's going nuts and just shooting into the trees. The guy with the minigun,
I don't know if we talked about this, but there's that theory that there's actually 3 predators in that first movie. The first one dies to that crazy gunfire. The second one, he fights that one dude by himself, and that they both die, or that the guy kills the predator, and then the other predator kills him, and then there's the last one.
Huh.
It's just a theory. I don't think it's true. I think it's
I
just
don't
the
think
one
so.
still. But I was like, oh, it's kind of a fun. It's kind of fun. I like
Yeah,
it.
I mean, if that was the truth, they would have either came out by now, or they would have done something a little more obvious to kind of ensue that fact. But
I guess so. That's true. Maybe.
I don't know, that's the point.
I still gotta see. I gotta watch Predators again. That's a good movie. Yeah.
Just don't watch the most recent one unless you really, really like Olivia Munn, and even then, you might dislike her after the fact.
I like her more after this movie because I feel like she took it because any nerd who loves Predator was probably like, hey, do you want to be in a Predator movie? Do you want to star in a Predator movie? It'd be like, yeah, I do. And
Yeah.
then like you realize later on what you get to work with. And it's like,
Well, she's like thinking like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Donald Glover.
yeah, somebody like,
and she's
just
like,
that
this is going to
plot,
be
oh.
rad. And then, oh my God, did they frickin', they drug her through a pile of shit out in the cow pasture.
oh, the
I
problem
hate to
too,
say
like, so the director here, who I was trying to remember, Shane Black, who was in the original Predator, I was like, he makes sense to be the director because he gets it. He knows what the Predator's all about. And it's like, no, he doesn't. But like The Nice Guys, if you ever go see that movie, it's great. It's hilarious. But that's what he should stick to. He should stick to like comedy with a little bit of action, not like a kind of action horror thing like Predator did. Like The Predator.
You know,
excuse me.
the Predator, I mean, those aren't necessarily shoot 'em up. They kind of get that way a little bit. I like to think some of the Alien movies are a little more shoot 'em up.
Aliens is the most shoot 'em up
I
of
always
them
get
all.
the titles confused.
Yeah.
Colonial Marines or whatever.
That game?
Definitely a shoot up. Well, where they have the Marines on that.
Oh yeah, that's Aliens.
Or whatever. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then the one when they're on the ship with the few of them that are loose, they shoot a lot in there. Well, more flamethrower maybe. No, Requiem's also has Predator.
Oh, sorry, I'm thinking of Resurrection. Maybe. I don't know.
There's a bit of shoot 'em up in there.
Sure. Yeah. And again, this is a kind of a loose term just because like John Wick 3 came out, so I was like, we gotta talk about things where they shoot a lot of guns.
Henry. I didn't hate that movie.
It's an interesting concept, Levi. I don't think you ever watched it. Did you?
No, I think it's on Plex, but I haven't seen it yet. I'm kind of scared too.
Okay, I was scared too, but Joe and I, we bit the bullet one night. We talked about this a while ago, but it is for anyone who hasn't seen it, is basically an action movie from a first-person perspective. And they do a really good job of making you actually not sick as you do all this, but at the end, they do play a really good Queen song, and there's just a bunch of violence, and it's just so hard to watch that and not just appreciate it, especially like as a movie lover and a game lover, just to kind of have that marriage of it for just a moment where you're just like, this is insanity. Like they did a really good job with it.
The budget was like next to nothing for a movie.
Yeah, they did such a good job with like the fact that they had no money. It was like a bunch of GoPros and stuff or something. It was like,
well, and then if you would have saw it in theaters, like hindsight 2020, I probably would have seen it in theaters 3D.
I would have probably vomited in theaters 3D because I was like, at the end of this, I was like, I'm pretty good. But like thinking of this or like an IMAX, I would have been like, it's a bit much. Like, if you don't, here's the thing: if you get sick watching someone else play a first-person shooter, don't watch it. Hands down, don't watch it. But if you're okay with that for a while, give it a few minutes, see if you like it. But it gets way brutal at the end. And there's something about like John Wick, it's very brutal. And you get those moments where like, oh, that's really scary. But, like to be in the hands of the person doing it, like and watching them, you're like, oh my God. Like it's like, whoo.
What was the preface for it? Like, how did they explain that you're watching this through his eyes?
It's like a chip or something. There's some sort of augmentation.
I almost feel like, it makes sense and whatnot, but it's almost like unnecessary. It's almost like you could have just played the movie. Well, it made sense. I think it was a good call. But overall, I probably would have loved to have seen that in 3D. I think it would have really added to the effect and made it more entertaining. So overall, it's not like something that I go out of my way for, especially now. But in theaters, it would have been pretty awesome. But if you got time to kill, it's entertaining, and it, like Jimmy said, it gets pretty darn brutal.
Yeah,
It's
good.
Damn it, I'm gonna have to watch this movie.
Yeah,
it's
if
definitely
anything,
a shoot 'em up.
if you get sick, Levi, and you can't watch it, just skip to like the last 10 minutes, or anybody, if you rent it or watch it wherever, just skip to the last bit, and when the Queen music starts playing, it's just like, yeah, this is good. It's like, that's one of it for me. I was like, like,
how about here's another one. How about Kingsman, the first one?
yeah, Kingsman, like that, and the James Bond movies, I feel like kind of
They
maybe more
all
the
kinda
Pierce
count.
Brosnan ones are a little
Yeah.
more like shoot 'em up. Kingsman, yeah, that first Kingsman, I guess I'd say it's in there. It's kind of more the spy genre, but still, I like the first Kingsman. I think the second
Yeah.
one's kind of garbage, but I really liked that first one. I remember really digging it.
Yeah, I liked it, but I wasn't like in love with it. It was kind of
Yeah.
spoofy a little bit, and then it did so well. We had to do a second one, and the second one's just like,
Yeah, Levi, did you enjoy Kingsman?
Yes, I like the first one. The second one was not great.
Yeah, I think they just went too
yeah.
much. Like, I liked Julianne Moore. I was like, oh, she's kind of an interesting villain, but I just thought it just got too weird for me. And Elton John, very funny, but it was just like, I'm not even.
It was weird. Yeah,
It's too weird. It was too jokey. And there, again, that's my Thor Ragnarok thing. People are like, Andrew's watching this right now. He's just like, how dare you say that? No. But yeah, the first Kingsman, pretty solid. Also, not using Channing Tatum in your second one that much. What are you thinking? It's just like, figure it out, guys. Why would you get him and not? It's like Halle Berry. Let's put Halle Berry and just put her freaking in a control room. Oh God, just frustrates me, man. Like, why would you pay? Just use them. They're good. Anyway, sorry. All right, gentlemen, do we want to talk about any other shoot 'em ups before we move into the next segment of the show?
I don't think so. I think
No, we're good.
Okay, we're good. Well, if they're not killing people in the movies, then we're killing a little bit of time, wouldn't you say? Because we're going into Time Killers. That's right.
Time Killer.
There we go. Thank you. Appreciate that. I feel like I should just take that soundbite and always have it in just for Joe's. Just be like, we never have to do this again. Games we've been playing, movies we've been watching, TV shows we've been doing. Levi, do you want to give a brief, just like spoiler-free review of John Wick 3? Like, where does it fall? How do you feel about it?
Quick synopsis: he shoots everybody.
Sick.
No, it's very exhilarating. It's fast paced. It really opens up the Assassin's world even more than 2 did. It's pretty dang violent. So,
what would you give it for a score?
a score, I'd probably give it like a for a shooter, like an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't have a lot of beats with it. Some of the fight scenes get a little hollow, but I mean that's to be expected with any action movie that's just like action. Yeah.
Oh, do you mean hollow? Like you're like, oh, it's in the beginning of the movie. He's not going to die.
No, well, yeah. I mean, like, yeah, I'd say so because I mean, actually the fight scenes in the beginning are better than the ones later on. But
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it no stakes. Yeah, because he's not gonna die.
Or do we?
Or do you?
Ooh,
Yeah,
They
exactly.
could have surprised you with a twisty ending.
What did you think of Halle Berry? Was she good?
Halle Berry was
Halle Berry.
awesome. Yes,
Cool. She deserves more work.
that
good.
woman does not age.
Yeah, she's
No dogs were killed during this movie. So.
I'm glad because I don't even care if that's a spoiler. I saw the German Shepherds in there and I was like,
yeah.
Ooh,
So I will be honest. The part with the German Shepherds, you get like this 20-minute sequence of just pure bliss of like her, John Wick, German Shepherds destroying, and
sick.
it's worth it, and it's so cool. These dogs are like going up buildings, and like
Goosebumps.
she's using her back as like a launch pad for the dog to run up the building, bite dude's crotch. A lot of crotch shots in this movie.
Yeah, that's right. Down with the establishment or whatever.
Your sister will love this because like she has these commands for them in a different language, and like
cool.
they just know it. And yeah, it's great.
So in all the gunfights and all the insanity, the dogs never catch a stray bullet, huh?
Well, they're low to the ground. They move fast, Joe.
Sure.
Yeah, they move fast. Yeah, and
Baba Yaga's up in front of you, dude. You got no time to shoot at dogs. You're like, it's Baba Yaga.
Yeah, right. I'll take a bite if I can.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
Well, and
bullet. Yeah,
they're like raptors too. So like, if one does go to shoot one, the other one comes out from the other side and it's like just like takes out his arm. Or
yeah, you don't normally see dog pairs.
Spoiler free, huh?
No, who cares? That's the thing. It's like he's describing half seconds, right? But I love that dude. Like that sounds like a movie they made for me. They're like, hey, Jimmy, it's like a dude and this other lady, and they've got a bunch of guns. They're shooting dudes. There's dogs who don't die. I'm like,
yeah, dude, you'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy it. There is a scene that I want to talk about in the beginning. It's just, let me just say this: knife play. Well, actually, you see a little bit in the trailer. Like they're throwing knives around, and it's sick.
I love a knife fight. Not since Winter Soldier have we had a good one.
This poor woman next to me, I don't know what they were doing at this movie, but like there's some scenes where like it's graphic. Like it's just downright gory and it's like holy shit. And she's just like freaking out.
Sweet. She's like, what movie did we come see?
Even Doug and I were just like at some points we're like, oh, okay, yeah. Yep, get that right in there. Okay. You see the whole eye socket? Cool, keep going. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
No, it's good.
This sounds like a 9 or a 10 for me. I'm sorry. Like I'm like over here, I'm like, keep going.
Yeah.
Because I'm sick.
You'll there are some surprises, so it's not super what's the word?
Predictable?
Predictable, yeah. It's not super predictable. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Cool. Is he It's not like he wakes up at the end. It was all a dream.
Exactly. Yeah. No.
That would be. I would be so pissed.
There's some twists and turns, and there's some fun. So.
Cool, dude. Nice. Have you been killing time with anything else?
Been getting through FF9. I haven't had a ton of time for video games or streaming lately. Plus, I haven't really had an urge to play a lot of video games lately. I don't know what it is. Been on kind of more of like a movie kick.
Sure.
Maybe I'm just being lazy. I don't know. Plus, I don't know. Someone's got to give me something good to play. Come on, Jimmy.
I have Final Fantasy 12 over here. Like I said,
right.
wants me to play, but you should probably beat like FF9
yeah,
first.
I'm gonna beat 9 first. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But I don't know. I'm kind of in the mood for like
Ghost Recon right now.
Oh, Ghost Recon Wildlands? Yeah, that's true. I still have to pre-order the Breakpoint, but
I don't know. I've been looking at like maybe picking up Division 2. I've got kind of a craving for a shooter. So
if you do that, please let us know because I told Joe when it got to half price, I was like, we should all just pick it up. We weren't there for
right now.
Yeah, look it up.
When we go into my Timekillers, Levi, I want a number. What's it cost right now?
Okay.
Speaking of that,
for me. But cool. Hey, if anybody has any like good recommendation for video games right now, please tweet at me. So.
Yeah, tweet them up. Put in the comments or whatnot. Joe, how about you, man? What have you been killing time with? And you can't say Blackout.
Well, we know it's Blackout for sure, but other than that, God, recently really not much. I don't know. I haven't had much time besides I've been chilling with Blackout when I have free time. So, I have been on the Game of Thrones kick just because of the final episode, final season, all that jazz. So lately I've been killing a lot of time with the Game of Thrones album since Sunday night. Inspired by the series. So there's some, I guess, inspired by the final season more so. But there's an album out there right now that's just kind of, there's some good tunes on there and kind of varying levels, some a little more intense and others some more slow and melodramatic, but enjoyable. There's a few in there that I listen to on repeat, all different artists and whatnot. I've been lapping that up a little bit. And then obviously Game of Thrones as of recently, that's probably the biggest thing that I've watched and killed a little time with. Not that I consider it killing time because it was well worth it, but I won't get into it much more beyond that. That's kind of it for me. How about yourself?
Before I jump in, Levi, did you get a number for him yet?
It's still about half price, or it's still about full price.
Yeah, I think it did pretty well. So that Ubisoft's like, we'll just keep it.
Yeah.
I think in the summer though, we'll see a sale pop up and we'll be like $30. Yeah. But Levi, if you're serious about getting into that, we would just take it. We'll just say it's like the game we play together. We'll just because like Joe still has Blackout. It's like that way we just play it as a group. It'd be so much fun. And I think later on you all just get like special weapons too that only you can have. Anyway, For me,
Oh, son of a bitch. Sorry.
what? What's up?
I just like, I don't know why I looked down on my phone. It's like Nintendo Switch just posted, oh, Resident Evil 4 is now available on the Switch. Of course it is.
Yeah, that's a good game. It's a good game.
It is.
I want to play through it again with the infinite rocket launcher though, because I feel like that
Yes.
would just be cathartic. Just be
Fun.
like, you know what? Screw everybody. It's just like just one hit everything, easy mode. For me, I've been cutting through Frasier. We're at the end of season 6, just about. Daphne and Niles, will they get together or won't they? That show still makes me laugh. Not every episode makes me like heartily laugh just because I like know them. I've kind of have them memorized. They're tucked away, but there's a few once in a while that just make me just gut laugh. And I really do, I really do appreciate it. Just goes to show how a show with really good writing and topical humor can still be, or not topical humor, sorry, evergreen humor, not topical humor, that could just still be funny today, even in standard definition. So on my TV, I still have like the black bars, the beginning seasons of that show. They didn't have high def stuff, so it's just that's how it is. But the one thing I do want to talk about here briefly is a song that Levi sent me, "Unsainted" by Slipknot. I like this song. I like the chorus a lot. I think the meat of it is just the kind of what Slipknot's been doing lately, where there's just like kind of no melody at all. And I kind of wish they would have kept with it, because they have this kind of choir in the background, and it kind of gives it this kind of more ethereal feel. Something kind of that, not that the boys over at Avenged Sevenfold do like choirs all the time, but a lot of their songs have kind of like other instruments or things to make them feel bigger than they are, like
very layered.
Yeah, using organs or using chimes and bells and things to make it feel like, oh, like the gravitas is there. And I feel like the beginning and end of this song is really good. It's just that the kind of middle is just the kind of classic, like Slipknot, really hard, really fast. Corey Taylor's just going, but there's no like, it's just like a rap almost, but it's just so fast. But I love the chorus of this song. I think that's really good.
The song definitely has like subliminal verses vibes for me with like the melodies.
Yeah, dude, the Subliminal Verses Volume 3, I don't know why it's Volume 3, but like that is maybe one of my favorite rock albums of all
one of the
time.
best
It's
metal albums.
so
absolutely
freaking good. Like I go back to it still and I'm like, yep, this one's a killer, this one's a killer, this one's just like, ooh, ah, ooh. So,
there's only a few skippable tracks, and they might even just be like more like intro, or not intro, but like what do you call them?
Oh, like the interludes,
like, yeah, interludes, yeah.
Which I never get those in albums. I'm like, is it just to break it up? Like I listen to the whole thing and they're like, all right, so just a little bit. I remember not liking Vermilion or Vermilion Part 2, but now I love those songs. Like, like I love the Vermilion Part 2 to just think like I could play that for someone, and then someone would be like, I hate Slipknot, but I really like this song, and they'd be like, yeah, this is actually Slipknot, but this is just them kind of unplugged, just singing a song. Corey Taylor's a very, very good singer.
Which, by the way, rest in peace to the clown's daughter. That's like heartbreaking to hear. I don't know if you guys heard about
I didn't hear about that. Oh no.
The dude who founded Slipknot, the clown, Sean
runs their media and everything.
Yeah, his daughter just passed away. So
that's too bad.
Yeah.
Oh, 22 years old.
22, yeah.
What
so like heck? And like literally the day after they released Unsainted. So
was this like a freak accident or something?
They haven't said anything yet.
Okay.
They're just asking for privacy. So
yeah, which is so hard. Like nowadays, it's kind of like I remember when like Zack Snyder and that stuff happened, where it's like everybody's got their eyes on you already, and then this happens. They're like, please, everybody, just freaking leave me alone. So
and like there's pictures of her like going with him to the Grammys, and it's just like and I mean, just like to kind of segue into a more happier conversation. Yeah. I've always really, really loved about like Slipknot. Slipknot's always been like the band that shouldn't be there. Like, they were just on Jimmy Kimmel, and they like,
so good.
And it's like, fuck yeah, Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, you definitely invite Slipknot still, 2019, because like
they are unapologetic for who they are and show it off in any way possible, right?
Because it's just awesome. People look at Slipknot, and if they don't know Slipknot, they're like, oh, they are masks, they're satanic. And I used to be that person. Like when I was younger, I would look at knotheads and be like, I don't want anything to do with that.
Maggots.
Then I heard like Duality for the first time before I forget, and just fell down the rabbit hole.
Bleed, baby.
Yes.
Oh.
Like it's you just don't quite understand it, and I'm glad you don't, because honestly, like Slipknot's kind of special in that way, where it's like they have their thing for a reason, because they're so much more than what meets the eye. I can't believe I just said that, but seriously, back me up here, Joe. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like,
yeah, one thing about them, there are other bands, like I think Mushroom Head came before them with the whole
Mudvayne,
mask thing,
yeah.
Mudvayne, yeah, but they've been the standouts just for their sheer quality and the way they present themselves. So hats off to them. But they have a few of those songs that they're metal. I mean, Duality and all that, and Wait and Bleed for me. And even when they did, oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank right now. I can hear the song in my head. I just can't think of the name. One of their more recent ones that was really popular.
Oh, Devil and I.
Devil and I,
Devil
probably,
and I.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they have that first little bit of appeal where they get the mainstream attention, and then all of a sudden now that person that heard that song that was like, man, this is pretty good, gets sucked in, and next thing you know, they're listening to the whole album on repeat. Not only that, but the way they put on shows, the spectacle that they create, which a lot of that is due in part to Clown, from what I hear, and he kind of drums up those ideas a lot. But that their media in the form of like music videos is so intense and kind of like you almost don't know how to process it, kind of a thing. Devil and I was like just trick, man. But yeah, I don't know. They just have an aura around them that you can't not like. But
yeah, I think one thing that's interesting that you guys bring up, because Levi, you're talking about kind of their look. I think back to like how it's like they're one of those old like 80s metal bands, like, or like 70s, like where you have like Kiss, and like they just stuck around, like, and they just went, we're gonna go as nuts with this as possible, but the quality is gonna be there, so you have to invite us to things. And so they're on the stage with all these other people, and it looks like they all just got out of the insane asylum and like went to the Halloween store, and they're just kind of like, like, what's going on? But like, they're not bad dudes. And then all the people you meet at these concerts are like the nicest people. Like all these people who love like Slipknot or even Metallica or whatever else, like I think a lot of people who enjoy that get like their emotion and their anger out through the music. So when you talk to them, you like, or you're wearing, like I wore, I think like a Korn shirt at the Metallica concert or something like that, and you get people who are like, dude, nice, like you, like people are like complimenting you, or like my favorite was the Golden Girls one that I told you guys about. It's like Golden Girls that looked like Metallica handwriting, and I was like, dude, hilarious shirt. But like, I don't know, there's a family there, and Slipknot is scary for sure. The spectacle they put on and the quality of their music stands out. And I will say this, Duality is in my top 10 rock songs of all time, might be in my top 10 just songs of all time, because that song is hands down incredible. I've heard it like hundreds of times, and I'm still like, every time.
Before I forget gets me pretty
I actually have a very special like kind of place in my heart for Dead Memories. I don't know what it is, like the Metallica beginning, or like just so melodic, like for that band, but I love Dead Memories.
I think it's good too.
Like it makes me want to go listen to like Metallica and be like, oh, I know that they really influenced that song. So
they did. Okay, I didn't know that.
Listen to the beginning of Dead Memories, and you're like, oh, that's very.
I should do that, because I always skip that one, because I'm always like, oh, this is not like the crazy Slipknot I want. Like I want like
sometimes it reminds me a little bit of Corey Taylor's side project.
Like
Stone Sour.
Yeah, Stone Sour.
I just love it because it's like, like it's just like there's this drum beat that's like it's just like very like fast during some portions, but it's like it's a slower song, but it's just different.
I remember the drums at the concert, Jimmy, you and I went to with them and Korn.
Oh, Levi's there too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you went with.
Yeah, son of a bitch.
You should have been saying
that. What was this, 6 years ago? Was it that long ago?
Yeah,
weird. My God.
Yeah.
We met, so.
Yeah. Well, anywho, I just remember the drums were like, they were almost, it was a live show, they were almost overpowering,
Yeah, they honestly,
as cool as it was,
they were cool. They were no Korn. The quality of Korn was so much better, because you could hear them.
It was like the album was playing.
Yeah,
and I don't want to say they were lip syncing, but it was They weren't. They definitely weren't, but it was so well done.
I can listen to Jonathan Davis scat for like hours. He just did that. He did Twist, and he's just like,
Dude,
like
it was so spot on.
the bagpipe too. Oh my god!
Oh man, I was just like,
yeah, they were. But that was a great show. That was such a cool show. Both of them together. I wanted them to play a song together because they have played. Like I told you, you can find this on YouTube. You can see them play Sabotage together, and it's really crazy to see these guys come out together. And this like there's like 10 or 15 people on the stage, and there's no room. They're just all just like it's very good. But there we go. That's Timekillers. Man, it was good, very passionate Timekillers.
How about that song "Drugs" by?
We talked about that already.
Did we talk about it when it came out?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Good.
Anyway, we're moving to that segment of the show. My personal favorite segment of the show, community feedback
and questions.
Thank you very much. I asked our lovely Legionnaires what they thought of the Game of Thrones finale. I thought we were going to get a lot more heated about this.
The guy who hasn't watched any of them.
Hey, I don't want to. It's not the show's not all about me, baby.
Now that it's over, are you going to go back and watch it?
Probably. Like it's kind of it's like last week, like.
For crying out loud.
Maybe I will. I don't know. I feel like I need to watch it with someone who's never watched it before, because I don't want to watch it with someone who's watched it before, because they'll be like, dude, this next episode, super tight. And then I'd be like, I didn't really like it.
No, I wouldn't do that at all. I would just
me either. I want to watch it with you, and I'll just be like supportive.
I want to rewatch it starting over from the beginning. That's how much I love that series.
I love.
We can have a watch party, the three of us. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I hope Sean Bean makes it to the end. Anyway, so I asked our lovely Legionnaires what they thought of the Game of Thrones finale, and we only got 2 write-ins, which is fine because I thought some other people, because there's a lot of people getting really frustrated about this. I can see it
out of us. Let's go.
This one comes in from our buddy Ryan. He says, "What's Game of Thrones?" He says, "I'm sure everyone loved the finale, even though I need to get past season 4."
Oh,
okay.
And then
keep on watching, Ryan.
This is one of my favorites. So Anna, she just writes in, "Don't watch Game of Thrones, but it's fun to watch the fandom riot and have a civil war from a safe distance." And I totally get that. There's this moment. It's just like, God, it's like if you watch the first movie, like Sicario, and they're like on the other side of the border, and they're just like watching it, and they're like, "Oh, those fireworks." It's like, nope. It's like the gang wars are going on over there. So that's what it feels like when you watch like Twitter. Like, obviously it's not the same, but I'm saying that's like the Twitter feed just filling up with people being like, "Oh my God, they screwed this up." And there's, of course, like Star Wars Episode 8, there's a fan petition going around to remake the last season or whatever. And it's just like, that's not going to happen.
I mean, some people are pretty overly
they get too
overzealous about it. I mean, I take it for what it is. It was great all in all, but if I'm going to get real critical about it, yeah, there are some problems. But, do we want to get into some details? Levi and I have seen it all. We can do a
here's
little
the
talking.
thing.
We should not give spoilers away because a lot of people haven't seen it. Sounds like Ryan's on the 4th season. It would really ruin it for him if we
wasn't a big fan of the last season. I was okay with how they wrapped the show up, but I wanted more.
Yeah, and there were some issues with how they wrapped it up, I noticed, and there were definitely some different storylines they could have taken to make it epic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it was epic enough in its own, but I think it really would have given you the goosebump feelies if they would have done it in a different manner. And I think it would have been more impactful for all the characters as a whole. And that's something we can talk about another time. I'm not the type I don't want to divert all our listeners, for like Ryan who's watching it. But overall, some of the things they did in 8, they may have been longer episodes, but I really think they needed more time to develop certain congruencies and storylines and essentially make the ending feel earned. And not to mention in that ending, like I said, there are some like gaps where it doesn't really make sense. Like somebody gets sent away when really the people who wanted him sent away leave. So it's like, well, you could stay now, but he still goes, kind of a thing.
It's odd.
It is. It's a little odd. It's a little like, why did they do that? And what's gonna happen there? Like, what's he doing? And what happens to that? So there are like some unanswered questions that like I want more. Like, it's not that I'm upset that it's over and I want them to keep going. It's more so as in I feel like I want to understand why that particular action happened, or I feel like they kind of condensed that at the end, and we're just like, well, we got to explain it somehow, so we'll have them do this, and the reasoning, we'll let people fill in the gaps themselves. And I didn't really like that. And one of the major big bads in the whole thing, I feel like, is underutilized. Yeah, there's an impactful episode, dedicated towards it, but I feel like they could have used that tool in a much more exciting manner with a lot more gravitas to it.
Yeah.
And they just didn't. In the development of a particular character or two, really, one goes downhill and they really kind of underplay it or undermine it. The other one goes downhill and they try and give you reasons as to why, or to try and understand it. And you kind of do, but you're kind of like, man, it doesn't feel earned. It doesn't really, it happens too quickly. So it doesn't quite sit right with you. So definitely some issues there. I think with more time, with like a 12 episode series finale, it would have been more impactful and maybe done a little bit better. But
I don't know if I would feel different about it if I had just watched 7 and 8 simultaneously. I feel like that 2 hour or 2 year gap really killed them.
It hurt because it a little bit. Yeah. It
built up expectations that were unreasonable, as there is no source material. Like there's like George R.R. Martin has not given them like the actual full source material. So they literally did what they could to finish it off.
Yeah, there are certain things that I don't think George R.R. Martin really had. I don't know that he had a say in a couple things. Like, they decide like who kills a certain person. They decided that like 3 seasons ago, and I was like, what? and that again, I feel like it was just a pick based on the fandom, which kind of made me upset. I don't feel like that was earned at all, and doesn't really, in the way that they do it, doesn't really make sense. It's like there are so many ways it could have happened, and it was kind of a, what's the word?
Anticlimactic.
Well, I was thinking that. I mean, it's a pretty big deal, but it's more so like there's no motive there or relationship as to why that person should do that one thing. There were a few others that should have had a hand in it, and they didn't at all, which is kind of upsetting.
That's a similar conversation people are having about Endgame, but keep going. I'm just saying, like, that's probably one of the biggest considerations going into it, where they're like, hey, we got some new heroes on the roster, but like, who gets to have their time to shine, and who deserves it, and who's not going to be around. Should have been the ones
with the more personal vendetta relationship.
Yeah, that's where it's, I agree.
Right there with you. So, yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of things. I just feel like it's not appropriate to divulge a bunch of spoilers. Sure. Maybe if you had seen it all, we could do a separate little show on the final season review. Spoilers
maybe
abound.
If you guys had to give a review, or just a score, I should say, to this final season of Game of Thrones, I know it's kind of hard because it's all part of a package.
6 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah, some people are pretty harsh on it. Have you read the books, Levi?
No.
No? Yeah, I'm almost done with the first one. I'm listening to the audiobooks.
They're hard to read, aren't they?
Yeah, I feel like if you were to actually read them in book form, I know my buddy Drew has read them all. I think he's even read the history of, the unwritten history.
The Silmarillion?
yeah, the stuff that kind of goes into the long history and before some of the Game of Thrones stuff and what means what and that sort of stuff. But needless to say,
I think it will be fun when this spin-off show starts, because I feel like it'll get back to Game of Thrones
Yeah.
where
Well, and that's
you know-
supposed to. There's like a title, Blood Moon, or something that's trending around, and George R. Martin's kind of confirmed it, and it's all going to go back to like the Children of the Forest and the Ancient Men kind of thing. The first,
yeah, that would be
starts.
awesome to see some of that, like, you know.
I mean,
Really
I'm
good
excited about that too, and I think really they need to keep R. Martin involved through and through. I think he needs to be at the helm to kind of give a bit of storyline direction, period. Without that, I think they could really go south quickly. Sounds like the two writers, I forget their names already. Do you know what their names are? Something. They always hyphenate it or shorten their names. But anywho,
No.
apparently they're in cahoots with Disney to work on the Star Wars spin-offs.
Yeah, we talked about that a few times.
Yeah, okay. But I'm excited for when they throw it back. I will say the way that they showed off these characters from the books and everything, it is so hard in the final season. Like there's a reason why people are like Team Stark or Team Targaryen and that sort of thing. And you get so just sucked into those characters. Like, that's my boy, or, Daenerys, she's my gal. Like, you get sucked into that and so attached to those characters that it kind of hits you in a weird way in this final season, because things get a little twisty turny and you're kind of like, whoa, ooh, and kind of changes your views, or tries to change your views a little bit, which is why I feel like it doesn't really hit home with some people, because it kind of goes against the way you felt the entire time.
Still need a score from you, Joe.
My score is a little more complex than 6 out of 10. I feel like that's a fair score, especially for a hardcore fan. Considering myself a fairly hardcore fan, yeah, I mean, I would probably be in that realm, maybe more like a 7.5 out of 10. I think the quality was there, the budget was there, coinciding. It's a spectacle in itself. I mean, every episode was, wow, profound, but there were nuances that were just kind of mangled and could have been done better, or they could have taken pieces of the story and either not finished them in that one episode and kind of carried them out to make the ending more impactful, or kind of shuffled things a little bit. Certain actions by certain characters kind of impact that score and bring it down a little bit. Like I said, the personal relationship towards someone and why they should do a certain act is a big deal, and they flopped on that majorly. So they kind of wrapped it up cheaply in some ways, which kind of bums me out. So I think 6 out of 10 is a fair score, just due to the sheer enjoyment of it. And, I preferred all the seasons before just because they were what I came to expect. This one just felt a little compressed despite the longer run times. And I still enjoyed it. But so 7-ish out of 10, 7.5. But here's the statement I'm going to make that I think is a little more profound. My general feelings as a whole on the series, seasons 1 through 8, is a whole franchise, a whole deal, the kit and caboodle, as they say. I honestly don't think the only thing that tops it for me is Lord of the Rings. Period. So if you picture my pyramid of first, second, third, fourth, and like my favorite series or trilogies of all time, Lord of the Rings is at the pyramid, and right below it is Game of Thrones, and that's kind of how I feel about that show. Even when comparing it to like Marvel, DC, all those, I mean, those are kind of falling right behind, but those are the epitome, and Game of Thrones is in some ways fed me more entertainment and quality entertainment than Lord of the Rings has, just because Lord of the Rings is a little shorter, but man, the cast on that entire show, as many that died off and whatnot, it doesn't matter. From every season, every episode, the characters and the cast that bring those characters to life, freaking excellent. I mean, freaking Amelia Clark as Daenerys. I mean, Peter Dinklage, he's a freaking genius. I mean, he almost didn't take the role because when it was the whole fantasy thing, he's like, I tend to not like those roles because it's not real and you kind of lose yourself. Thank God he took that role because he is the epitome of what that character should be. And he deserves every award in the book for his performance. But I feel the same way about Amelia. I feel like Jon Snow, Kit Harington, they kind of soured his character slightly in the final season. Could have been bolstered a little bit more, but they kind of flatline him just a hair. Like he's there, he serves a purpose, he has an impact on things, but it just doesn't feel like he's not as sharp edged as you want him to be. You know, he doesn't really hit home as much. They kind of doll him up a little. I don't know any other better way to explain it unless you watch it yourself. So, but yeah, am I sad to see it go? You're damn right I'm sad to see it go, but I know all great things come to an end, and I really hope that what they bring forth for us now associated with this world, I hope whatever it is addicting as this was. And I think the first thing to hit home and cause a successful franchise or spin-off is going to be who they cast in the roles and how they portray these characters and bring them to life. Because sometimes just a simple casting move can really cause a dud. It can be a great story, but you know how it goes. So,
sure,
fingers crossed. But man, I felt good about it. I put out my first tweet in like, I don't know, ever.
You gotta be back on Twitter, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to get more into Twitter as of late. I'm not totally about it, but I'm about it enough. And so I tweeted it just so that one day I can go back and scroll through my tweets because I don't have many, and I can go back and be like, the night of the season finale of Game of Thrones, the final episode, my feelings.
Yeah.
And I kind of summed it up. I felt it was profound enough that I was thinking about it. I didn't sleep well that night, believe it or not. The first thing I did when I woke up in the morning, I looked up the album, and at work, I'm just sitting there jamming to it. Like, oh, man.
Is this album like an official album, or is it like a cover?
Yeah, it's endorsed by Game of Thrones and everything. You look up Game of Thrones on Spotify, and there's a album.
It's like their album, okay.
Yeah, like Florence and the Machine did a song for the show, and
yeah, let me actually look up some of the artists. I mean, just for everybody's curiosity, if you're in the music, it's good stuff.
While you're looking that up, Levi, do you want to give a quick score on the actual whole show? Because we only let you do like one season.
The whole show? I can't give it a perfect score because that only goes to Lord of the Rings and always will. But I'll give it a 9.9.
Okay. So there you go.
Dang.
So Levi, I mean, I will throw it in a pyramid with all the movies ever, Marvel included, all that.
But it's not. There aren't movies. They're TV shows.
I know.
It's like, but I mean, like if it's entertainment.
That's true.
Yeah.
You can make your own pyramid.
If the acting was not as on par, and it definitely would not have gone to the lengths it has gone. The characters and the actors really pull you in, which is what did it for me for Lord of the Rings. You know.
Yeah.
They do a fantastic job. The production is there. The budget's there. The storytelling is there. The action is there. The puppies are there. Like you just get a little dragons are there. You get a little bit of everything.
Cool. Sweet.
Yeah, the dragons. Something about the dragons just freaking.
Yeah.
Every moment with the dragons, I'm just like in awe. Like they did a really good job with them as the seasons went on. This final season, you can tell a lot of budget went into the CG, and the intimate moments with the dragons themselves, just goosebumpy. Even in the season finale, I was just kind of like, oh my god.
I actually kind of envy you, Jimmy. Like if you actually do get into it, like where you can just like watch it all the way through.
Yeah, you don't have to wait the 2
You don't have to
years
wait,
like we
yeah.
did.
That was the whole point, you fools. Everyone's like, Jimmy, you should watch it. Watch it right now. Let's watch it. We
But
can
if
watch it
you
together,
could have
whatever."
watched the final season
Okay,
with us,
There's the thing though, Joe. I love you so much, but you and Drew, you guys are kind of loud. And like, if I'm gonna watch this thing, I don't want to be like, oh man, and then
You
like
don't
2
even
seconds later,
understand.
no, and then
We
2
were
seconds later,
silent.
no, but then if it's 2 seconds later because I'm like have a delay or something, then like I'll be like, oh, here comes that cool thing. Oh, that was kind of cool. Like I'll be like, eh, you know. Also, I don't want to watch a bunch of weird sex scenes with you guys. There you go. That's just it. I don't want to do it.
Levi, lay it on him. Was there anything real weird except for the first season? There's one moment.
You know,
Isn't there like a lot of rape in this show?
actually, okay.
Yeah, maybe a moment or two.
I actually, you know,
Maybe a moment.
the nudity is actually not overly done. Like,
yeah, it's
thinking
not
of,
like
like-
it's distasteful to
No.
any extent.
Like,
It
are the
makes
dragons wearing
sense.
clothes? Like,
yeah. I mean, and I'm trying to think of like how many seasons did they go where there was like no nudity? Like,
There
Oh, and
was
I'm not-
some where there wasn't really.
there's
any.
absolutely none in the last season, or you might
That's
see
true.
like, yeah,
I'm
I
not a
think in
prude.
season 7 you saw some ass cheek. That's about it.
yeah.
Sure, and I'm not against any of that. I was just saying that like from what I'd heard, again, it depends on who you talk to. Because if you talk to fans, obviously they say they're like it's not that bad. But then you talk to other people who have tried out like 2 or 3 episodes, and they're like, man, I'm not sure what that show is all about. I don't know why everyone's freaking out about
the
it.
show is a little risque. It's first season. It's very like
It's gotta be. It's HBO.
it's
Well, to start, I think it took
Yeah.
a little bit of the sex sells thing, but it
Yeah.
was accurate per the books.
I totally think that like the first couple seasons are very risque because they wanted to push an envelope with like HBO, like you said, Jimmy, and like yeah, once you get past those and you start to like get into the storyline and the characters and start getting in like with the White Walkers and everything just starts blooming. It's like
None
this
of it
world
was
is
pointless.
huge. Yeah.
Yeah, none of it was
Yeah.
pointless. I will say, I mean, when I first started watching, and I swear to this day it stands out to me in an impactful way that kind of like it's always in the back of your mind because it's like a hardship that she overcame. And I don't think it's a spoiler for anybody if you haven't seen season 1 yet. I'm sorry, tune me out for a second here. But when Daenerys gets married off to Khal Drogo, that moment of them in the tent, or when he kind of comes in every night and he's kind of that brooding asshole that just, you know,
Mhm.
it's that was like, wow, man, like how can any girl go through that? But then that relationship develops to where she kind of grabs the bull by the horns, for lack of a better term,
Yeah.
pun intended, maybe. And eventually the relationship grows to where he starts to respect her, and they're then in love from that point. It was really interesting, but like the fact, and that's a lot of reason why I think Daenerys was such a popular character, and that people were still vying for her up to the final episode, where that
Her character development is phenomenal.
exactly like
Yeah.
for some reason I always really looked forward to the scenes where they went back to her part of the world where she's over that sea or whatever. I'm forgetting all the names, but whatever. You know, when she's over in Marine and stuff in Slaver's Bay and with the Dothraki early on, I always look forward to those moments because you're kind of seeing the stages of, you know, she's getting the dragons and all that stuff and her development. For some reason, there was something really like it captured you and you were interested in that development because it's probably more profound than any other characters.
Mhm.
Maybe kind of the equivalent of Jon Snow, but maybe not quite.
Yeah, I feel like John kind of plateaus. Like he's still phenomenal throughout the whole thing, but like he turns a corner and then it's like he's Jon Snow, like for for a long time.
Exactly. And shoot, where was I going with it? Yeah, I mean the things that she overcomes, the obstacles in her character development are just wow. They're kind of awe-inspiring.
She actually
and-
set, like, you could say that she actually set a new standard for like female. I'm trying to think of the right words here. Like, you know, like it's kind of like what Captain Marvel wanted to be, right?
Sure.
So
Yeah.
it's like she really did it, and like she portrayed it beautifully and great acting. Where like I think that's what Brie Larson wanted to be, but like you can't touch Emilia Clarke.
Well, and also Brie Larson hasn't had a chance to do like multiple seasons of a TV show to like flesh
True.
out the character. So I'm gonna defend her in this one moment here. So you're welcome, everybody.
Yeah, but over time, just the things that she overcomes and the stages of her development are they're just profound in a way that kind of make you root for her right up until the final moment, and it's interesting because in season 8 they didn't give it enough time to really earn it, but they make you question how you feel about her, and you need to kind of take a look back. And this might be a bit of a spoiler, so tune me out if you want to, but if you take a look back at every stage of her development, all the things that she's done, freeing slaves, creating free cities, and breaker of chains, if you will. Pay attention to that. Like, Jimmy, as you watch the series, which you better, you have to, as you watch, really pay attention to her development and her actions and why she does things. And particularly, I mean, we know she's going to kill people. She's taking an army. She's moving across, making her journey to Westeros, eventually to King's Landing. Things are going to happen, and we know she's going to kill people. Pay attention to when, why, what she's saying, and how she acts. It's important. And I think if I look back, I guess I see some pros and cons to what she did. Is she a bad person, a good person? It's interesting. All that buildup over 7 seasons kind of culminates in the end. And I feel like it could have gone either way, but pay attention to it. It is really interesting. They do such a good job. Like, I love the way in season 7 how all the storylines converge on the one main road and meld together like an on-ramp where people actually speed up to the speed limit to merge in the traffic. It is just cohesive and perfect, and the characters their chemistry is like fine wine, Jimmy.
I still didn't get a score from you yet, though. You said Lord of the Rings is at the top.
It's about a 7.5 for the final season.
But the whole thing,
I can't give it a score. Like I said, it's dang near perfect. I consider Lord of the Rings perfection.
That's why I'll give it a 9.9.
Yeah, I consider Lord of the Rings perfection, and this is dang near, they've got one leg off the top rung of the ladder, stepping to the top of the pyramid. They're dang near there.
It's just freaking Boromir's got his boot on Ned Stark's hand, and they're just looking at each other. And it's just like,
Yeah.
Well, good. Obviously, you love the show. I'm going to stop you because it's going to turn into like an hour and a half of just Game of Thrones talk, which is great.
If we had all watched it, we could do a full 2-hour
If
episode.
only. The only thing I have to say about it is in this last season, I feel like they botched the Night King. And that's just me. Like, I don't know if anybody else feels that way.
Yes.
But clearly.
The internet friend.
I haven't. No, I really haven't. So, I like to throw that. So there's this thing.
Underutilized tool.
We have a friend, Levi and I have a childhood friend who's really into this stuff and like reads into it. And there's something like the sand serpents. Is that a thing?
Who? Ian?
Yeah. There's these desert serpents, I think.
Sand vipers.
Is that what it is? I made a joke about that once, and he looked at me. He's like, "You wouldn't know that. You couldn't know that." Like, because I told him that I didn't watch it. So like, there's this like exclusivity that like if you joke about it, like if you know a proper noun, I could just be like, just throw it out there just to piss people off. Just be like, they're like, "Oh, you don't watch it? Did you watch it?" Like I think there's that kind of hurt to know that I haven't. I might one day. Like I said, I would rather watch it like with someone who hasn't seen it before, right? Like, 'cause I would love to experience it with someone like who's fresh at it, but also talk to you guys who'd be like, "Oh, so like, what do you think's gonna happen? Like, oh, who do you like the most?"
It would be like when we watched Smallville, Jimmy. It would be if you have questions, I'll answer.
So I'd be like, why is she a witch? Why are there zombies? Why are there?
I would literally just be watching for the sheer enjoyment of it. I am gonna go back and watch it probably this summer because there's not much else for me. I have to. You are more than welcome to join me.
We'll see.
I am all in
I'll make no promises. If I do watch it, I'll obviously talk about it here on the show or make another show about it.
The reason it's painful for like your friends that do watch it or are into it and you haven't is because, first of all, it's not going to ruin Lord of the Rings for you, as my statements and Levi's have confirmed. I mean, we still consider that top tier. But considering you are very into that kind of mythos or genre, it's like, you what? You know,
why isn't he doing it?
It's more impactful because it feels like it's something that's right up your alley. Yeah, there are your moments of, maybe pushing the envelope sexually, stuff like that. It's not awkward. It's artistic. It's appropriate. It's not wasted film time. It's accurate per the books. It's accurate per the time. What time is it? It's like 100 BC, I think they call it. So it's, it's not reality, but you kind of get the gist of it. And it's all just so tastefully done. They hit it spot on. You would like it. There are some moments where you'd have to kind of, maybe cringe and gulp through it for a second. But I think overall, in general.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll give it a shot. I never said I wouldn't do it. I think it was one of those things that I'm kind of a cheapskate and I didn't have access to HBO like when it started.
I'll give you my login right now. I'll send it to you in a minute.
And then it got to a point where
it's on Hulu.
I hate being. Is it?
No, you have to have an HBO package for Hulu. It's on Plex, damn it.
I hate being forced into entertainment. Like, I get why people like want, and like if at first it was like you should watch this, I think you'd really like it. I think the problem with me is I knew a few people who were too aggressive about it, and then I'm kind of that kind of guy who
you like the angst of like doing the opposite.
I do, because to frustrate the people who are like, you better watch this or we're not going to be friends anymore. I'm like, are you really serious?
I wouldn't go that far.
Drew said that to me. So as a joke, I was like, I'm not going to watch it.
Drew is that kind of person. I'm sure that was one of the first things he said to you when he met you at my wedding.
It was more recently, and it was on. I remember like just playing around, and he's like, dude, you gotta start watching it. But he was very cool in person. I'm just giving him crap. But I think, and the intensity of the fandom is very off-putting, and I get that. And I like having one or two things that I don't like. It was that and Doctor Who, I think, were the two kind of big like things for me that I haven't really gotten into, because it gives me kind of like a layman's perspective of like, the outside looking in. Because like when I talk, like, and I just go on and on about like Lord of the Rings or like video games and stuff, I try to think of like, if you weren't into that or you were kind of into it, how would I talk to you in a way that would make you interested without freaking you out and being like, you gotta watch it.
The beauty of that show is that like it opens up a lot of mainstream people to fantasy.
Oh, for sure. It totally did. I'm not saying it didn't. I think Lord of the Rings started it, but this one really kicked it off. And I think a lot of people who were like, I'm not into that at all, they got way into it, which is cool. That's great. Everyone should be able to get into fantasy. Who cares? Like, it's just a genre.
Well,
right?
And that's the thing. For somebody that is into that, like Lord of the Rings in particular, for example, for somebody that is so, carries that with so much weight, that's on the pedestal,
I love
it makes me feel like you not watching this, and because I care about you.
I've already talked to him about this, Joe. Like, I'm like, dude, you'll like it.
I worry. I'm like, man, Jimmy would so appreciate this, and I feel like you're missing out, and that's the only reason I push it so hard. And you never said you wouldn't watch it. It was always like, well, I don't want to wait for that last season. I got to watch it all in one concurrent
I do, because I felt like if I kind of just garbled it all down like a buffet and then watched this last season, I'd feel like that's kind of cheating the show a little bit. And all the people, like you said, it's different when there's that 2-year gap. It kind of hurt this last season, but for me, I wouldn't feel that. I'd be like,
it's interesting. That's a really good, interesting thing. There was some guy who did a podcast. He does kind of a similar podcast. I don't know how I stumbled across this, but he's like, all of you listeners have been, urging me to watch the show, and I've seen the comments, and I finally decided, okay, I'm gonna try it. And he watched it from season 1 to season 7, just before season 8 came out. He said he got it done in like a little less than 4 weeks. And he said, having seen all those so recently and then rolling right into season 8, gave him an advantage over the ones who waited because there's no gap and it kind of flows more seamlessly. And I mean, they start off right where they left off, for crying out loud. We get it, but all those little moments that you see leading up to this final season really help you to look at that final season in a more objective manner and really dissect it. And he had kind of the same qualms or thoughts that a lot of the fandom did, or the serious fans, how they reacted. And he kind of threw out some interesting like plot redesigns that they could have done to make it more impactful and make more sense. And I really thought, wow, you're on to something. And now I want to go back and watch it that way and really see if this last season, the way they portrayed the characters and ended things, was earned or not. So it's on my list. Timekiller for show. I'll be talking about it every week from now till no, I'm just kidding. But it's an interesting topic, and ultimately, I mean, if you were to watch it, we could really have kind of a fun discussion on thoughts and stuff, and it would be a lot of fun. I really do think so.
I know the guy who runs our website, Mike, he said, like, if you ever start watching it, he's like, I want to do a show with you, kind of like the one that we've been doing for Chrono Trigger, where we it's a little different because Levi and I haven't played that game together, so we play a little bit and then talk about it. But this would be like he knows, and then I would talk about what I've just watched, and then he'd be like, all right, where do you think it's going? Who do you like? Who do you hate?
See what your prediction.
Yeah, and then so people, and I've watched one. There was a show like this for Pokemon way back, like for Easy Allies, they did it, and it was so cool because like the guy who Brandon, he never played Pokemon Red or Blue. He would have like all these predictions, and he would talk about this stuff and the trials and the tribulations of it, and it was just funny because like you have that knowledge where you're like, oh, I know what's coming next, dude, and like you're like, oh man, he's gonna love this or he's gonna hate this, and he might be totally right or might be totally wrong. So there's some fun about that. So maybe one day. But believe it or not, we're gonna call it there for the show because we're getting close to 2 hours here. Because that's what Game of Thrones does to people.
Fun is fun. What you gonna do about it?
Anna, I know you wrote in here with the #Critical Podcast, but we're gonna get to this question hopefully next time. Just remind me because she wants to know the meaning of the word meaning and our definition of the word definition, and I think that might take a while. So we're gonna come back to that. It's really good, Anna. Thank you. I do appreciate you writing in. But if you have a question. If you have a question or a topic for the podcast, all you have to do is tweet the #Critical Podcast and just tweet at us on Twitter. You can tweet at GoCritical or tweet at me. I'm at JimmyGood013. If you'd like to tweet at Joe, you can tweet at
Lever_627. That's Lever just like Beaver with an L. And if you want to reach Levi, you can tweet at.
Don't tweet me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm at Levi Fletcher.
Tweet him. Tweet us the endgame memes. Oh, I keep forgetting to do a hashtag because Ryan, he does this, but everyone should tweet us like a little hashtag too. What should our hashtag?
It can't be Game of Thrones related.
Can't be. What if it is Game of Thrones related? So will they find the show?
It can't be. We'll never find it.
They'll tweet it at us though, right?
We would have to be in it. Yeah.
Hashtag Game of Thrones. Yep.
Oh my god. No.
Yeah, you gotta add us though because we'll never find it. Yeah, let us know if you're watching the show. We appreciate it. If you want to support us, you can do so over on Twitch. You can do so on Spreadshirt. You can do so on our Patreon. And thanks to Daleb and Yoren for making it all possible with our theme music and our art. And if you want to support us, like I said, those are the ways to do so. You can get some cool art in the process. Even throw us $1 or just share us on Twitter or Facebook. Seriously, that would really help. And to everybody who's been watching throughout all these years now, it's been plenty. We've been doing this for like 3 years. Can you believe that? It's crazy.
Yeah, weekly.
Yeah, weekly. 166 weeks. I've never missed a week.
Yeah, that is insane. Think about it.
Yeah, I think about that sometimes. It's just like that'll be so much fun to explain someday in a serious relationship. Just be like, I'm sorry, like it's our anniversary. I'm like, this is my 217th episode. You don't understand.
The boys said they couldn't do a different day. It had to be this day.
It had to be this day. Yeah, but thank you guys so much for being on. It was so much fun just to hear you guys talk about Game of Thrones. I love to hear the passion and stuff, and that fills me, even though I haven't witnessed it yet. And I'll probably get to it eventually, but I'm glad that you guys still love that show so much. It fills me with hope, even though that show is all about not hope. And maybe the Game of Thrones was the friends we made along the way. I hope that isn't it. There's a real Iron Throne, right? It's not just like they open up like a door, it's nothing there, and they're like, it's just like, just turns to sand. They're like,
Did you watch the finale and you didn't?
I didn't I? No, I'm just kidding. It's just Harrison Ford, and he's just like, he's, anyway.
Little spoiler, it doesn't turn to sand.
Excellent. It turns to oil, and then they light it on fire, and they all die. Anyway, thank you, boys, for being on the show, and until next time, just remember to adapt and overcome. Bye-bye.